Okay. I talked about how to install Bash on Ubuntu on Windows last class. I'm going to try and run through this again for you pretty quickly. This time it's actually recorded, so you at least have something to go back on and make sure you did it correctly on your machine. How many of y'all were able to actually do this? A couple? On that machine? Okay. Anyone having severe problems with this, or no? Okay, great. So this will be a nice refresher for other classes. All right, so I've always taught this course from the Unix environment or Linux environment, and Microsoft's added a Linux subsystem for Windows, which I think is awesome. So we're going to be using that. Two main stages: first, enable a subsystem, and then install a Ubuntu environment. All right, let me hop on over, and let's see if I'm able to go to one of these machines. Ooh, that looks like a yes. So CSU. All right, is there any way to full screen this? That did not work. That killed it. Let's try that again. Don't try and full screen this when you remote desktop. It fails miserably. Wow, that's a solid connection. Yeah. Okay.
You like virtual machining one of these?
I have remote desktoped into this guy right here. So I've our desktoped into it. And Windows, when you do that, Windows sets up a separate session that'll just run through a client. So I'm viewing this machine right in front of me right now. Okay. So the eventual objective is that you can run something called Bash on Ubuntu on Windows, which will come up with a prompt. Hey, look, this prompt hopefully looks very familiar, similar to everything I've been doing on my machine. And that's the idea, is that you have an environment on Windows that can do everything that I do from my native machine. All right. And this actually gives you access to a bunch of Linux tools. So how do we go about doing that? Well, usually I forget, and you could Google it and it tells you, but I also have the instructions right here. So you want to first make sure that you're running the correct version of Windows. Correct version of Windows, otherwise you will not get the correct version of Ubuntu on your machine. The way you do that is running a program called WinVer, and I'm going to do Windows key R, which comes up with a little what command do you wish to run. And I'll type in WinVer, and it's going to come up with a nice little window that says, hey, look, it's version 1703. Make sure that your Windows version is 1703 first before you do anything else, otherwise sadness will occur. All right, so we're good there. Let me go ahead and pop back over. We need to enable developer mode, so settings, update security for developers. So Windows key, I usually type in settings, go ahead and load up that program. And then, what was it? Users secure?
Update and security.
Thank you. Update. Oh man.
If you scroll down.
Yeah, if I could scroll down. Oh, here it is. Good.
It's at the very bottom.
Excellent. Thank you. And then you want to also scroll down over here. You want for developers, and you're going to want to click turn developer mode on, and then there's usually an apply button. So first, make sure developer mode is on, and then click apply. It'll say, are you sure? You click yes, and then you usually wait a while it downloads a bunch of packages, and Windows will probably tell you it needs to restart. All right, once that's done and you've rebooted, don't need that window anymore. You need to enable the subsystem, which is in Control Panel Programs, turning Windows features on and off. So let's go ahead and load up Control Panel. And let's go over to Programs. Turn Windows features on or off. Then you need to scroll down and where are we? Right here, you need to check it, click OK, and again Windows will say, oh, okay, I got to download a bunch of packages and then restart. Common operation in Windows. So after you click OK, it installs everything. You now should be back up to a similar screen. Now you can install Bash, and the easiest way to do this is run the command line or command prompt. You're going to type in bash. Now when you hit enter, this one, on this machine I already have bash installed, so it came right up. On your machine it should say, okay, whoa, you want me to go ahead and download all the packages? Say yes, and then it'll go and download everything. Hopefully it'll complete soon. If it gives you an error, namely, it says cannot launch bash because the LX subsystem has an install, uninstall, or service operation pending. What that means is right now Windows has bash already installed for another user, but it's not going to allow you to access that bash. So you need to go in and run as an administrator the command sc stop lx ss manager. Since you don't have administrative rights to these machines, you need to come grab me or another professor so they can bring up that window, run that command for you, and then you can get bash installed. Afterwards, create a Unix name or password, and then you want to go ahead and run this command. Actually, you want to add the word git to it as well. I'll show you what it kind of looks like. So you want to go sudo apt-get install git, as well as a bunch of other ones. It'll ask you for your password again. And it's already installed, but if it wasn't, it'd say, are you sure? Yes. It goes and installs the packages for you, and you're done. Yes.
Is that the same line that was listed in the PDF document?
No, in the PDF document, I forgot to add the line git, G-I-T, to it. So you want to append git to the end of it. Namely, right here, sudo apt, or just apt, install g++ make gvim, gdk, valgrind, GNU plot, and then git at the end. When you're in Linux or Debian and you want to install something, it's just sudo apt install space what you want to install. And then it's going to go grab the package, or actually it'll grab that package and anything that package depends on, so other software that it might need in order to run, install it all for you, and then you're good to go.
What would it install if you didn't put the word git at the end?
If I didn't put what?
If you typed that in and hit enter and didn't put git at the end.
It would install G++, our compiler, the makefile subsystem that we're going to use, Vim GDK, I talked about Vim a little last time, Valgrind, which is going to be another tool for doing analyzing your program for memory leaks, and then GNU plot, which is a tool that takes your data and tries to plot nice pretty graphs for you. So these are all actually different programs you're asking it to install, separating them by spaces. You could just do sudo apt install G++, then another line for sudo apt install make, and so forth and so on. It would eventually do the same thing, or you can just combine them all in one line. Morning. Just keep in mind this whole process takes a long time, so get it done in a day, that'd be great. I don't think any part of this was particularly hard. Did anyone have big issues doing this on their home machine or anything? It was, Microsoft's actually done a pretty good job in my opinion with this. I mean, you have to enable some things, but it's no big deal, all right? Any other comments, questions, screams of angst? All right, a couple of things, since we're here. If you don't like having bash run and you want to have your own, you want another alternative, maybe you just don't have time to install bash, you just need to get something up and running, et cetera, et cetera. You can use a program called Putty. Oh, the internet's so much faster this time. You type in Putty, it wants you to sell it to you, and then the first link is actually to the correct program. When you do this, you can download Putty here. What I highly recommend is, when it comes up, is you want to save the exe to your desktop. Putty is a very small file or program. It's not a big deal. Putty exe, right click, save link as, and we'll just put it on the desktop. Sounds great. Save. And it's less than a meg, we're done. Well, that was a lot faster than last time. So when you go and run it, notice I put it on the desktop, just I went a little fast. It's this little icon. This allows you to SSH over into any machine. Actually allows you to do telnet and rlogin, and you can even do serial connections. Cool. Anyways, it's SSH, which is a secure shell Namely, you're going to remote into Xeon, which is another Linux machine that's running over there. And you can do most of your actually you can do your development this way as well. The thing about this, though, is it requires an internet connection. So if I put in coins.csunv.edu port 2222, hit enter, you say yes to accept the host key, then you go ahead and log in with your username and password, and now, ooh, my password has expired. Passwords must differ. Oh man.
Uh-oh.
All right, now it's going to fail again. That's okay. Let's see if I don't think it's going to allow me this time. Oh, it did. Great. So, and now you're on the machine, and what you see here is actually your X drive. Your home directory on Xeon is your X drive that you see on your network. They're the same things. So if you're on one of these machines and you want to be able to remote in and do some manipulation, make sure you are on your X drive when you do any checkouts and you do all of your operations. Okay? The advantage here, you don't have to install bash. Disadvantage, you have to have a solid network connection, and CSU's, our computer science network, has to be functioning well, which should be most of the time. But if it's 5 minutes before your program is due and it goes down, sorry, there's only so much we can do. All right, so I'm going to close that out. And that was the alternative I was talking about over here. Yes?
What's that? Hold on. Can you go back to that screen with the algorithm thing you have to type in after you're done with bash?
Yeah. These are on GitHub.
I know. But I don't want to have to.
You don't have to go in.
Yeah, I don't want to go. It's right there.
It's right there. Okay. By the way, let me pause for a moment and tell you exactly what's going on with this command. Sudo means run the following as an administrator. apt is the program. The program you're telling apt to install these packages. Which packages? It's these list of packages. That's what this command is telling you. All right, one last thing I would like to point out. Let's see, we have bash. Let's say you want to run, you load up Vim. We have no problem, we can do whatever we want. Great. On the other hand, if we want to run gvim, cannot open display. So then it goes down to regular Vim. In other words, if you're trying to run a GUI application, it requires a couple more configurations in order to get this to work properly. First off, you need to download something called xming. Notice how that's typed Xming. You run it. Sure, allow the access. Once that's up and running, the other thing you need to do is you need to run, where is this guy? Oh wow, this is a weird interface. It's not there, that's funny. Well, now if you run gvim and it's running, cannot open display. Okay, so I didn't say that. You have to export display equal to, I think it's 0.0, and then when you run it, perfect. It will come up, and now you actually have gvim as running as a GUI. So any GUI application, you want to run Firefox, you want to run Atom under Linux, you want to run some code blocks, or any GUI application, that's what you need to do first. Make sure xming is running. Then you need to do that export display equals : 0.0. I don't have too much time to go into depth, but export means set this environment variable, set the display environment variable equal to : 0.0. Why 0.0? Well, without going into too much detail, the GUI in Linux comes from the 70s, which you would think would make it terrible, but in actuality it makes it awesome. Because back then everything's client server. So your server, your GUI is the server, and any client can be whatever. So you're just saying the server is 0.0, aka native first server. You don't have to go searching anywhere else. The beauty of this is that if you want to run any commands over the network or run GUIs over the network, it was actually very easy to do so. You just said, okay, now point to the server over here. We're done. But anyway, to get GUIs operating, you do that export display variable first, and then you can run it. Any questions on this? Setting up the environment. You do not need to run a GUI in order to pass this course.
Is the difference between running gvim and vim pretty much that one looks like an atom type thing and the other one is still more like a command line?
Right. Vim is integrated into your console or your terminal. gvim pops up a window. A nice thing about gvim that may help you out, especially at the beginning, is that you have your file, all these things up top. But then under here is just standard vim. You got a couple other shortcuts. Well, naturally down here, you don't have all those decorations. It's just vim running in the terminal. All right. Any questions, comments? For all intents and purposes, this command prompt here is the exact same that I'm running on my machine. So I'm going to exit out of this and probably never go back under Windows using this. I have tested, I can't say I've tested everything for this course, but I've tested a significant amount that makes me believe this would work just as well as running it on my machine. If you think there's an error, please come see me, but I highly doubt one will come up. You good with that? Great. I'm going to go and close this out. Doot. Boom.